Hello again, third grade, and welcome to lesson 12-7. Here we're going to do some more work with line plots and lengths, like we did in our previous lesson. So let's go ahead and watch our short video and begin our guided practice and our notes after that. So this video is going to be super quick. Hopefully this will be a quick and easy lesson for you guys to get through.
How can you make and use line plots? Think about this question during the lesson. Anna is measuring the length of her crayons. How can she use a ruler to measure to the nearest fourth inch? The distance between each whole number on this ruler is 1 inch. Each blue mark shows 1/4 inch. So each whole inch is divided into 4 1/4 inches. Line up one end of the object with 0. The 10th 1/4 inch mark is closest to the right end of the crayon. So, to the nearest fourth inch, the crayon measures 10/4 inches. What is another way to write 10/4 inches?
Select your answer.
So another way to write the 10/4 inches as what we call a mixed number, where you have a fraction part and a whole number part. We're going to see now if each one of these is broken up into fourths, right? 4 equal parts in between each whole. So we're already at the 2-inch mark, and then we're 2 of those 1/4 size pieces after it. So 10/4 is the same thing as saying 2 whole plus 2 more fourths.
This is 2 whole inches and 2 1/4 inches. You can write this as 2 2/4 inches. Anna measured her other 9 crayons. She then recorded the data in a line plot.
A line plot is a way to organize data on a number line.
Okay, so before we move on, I want us to take a look at this line plot really carefully. So here she should have 10 data points. So the crayons she just measured plus the other 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so here she has 12 pieces of data recorded. Now, her scale is measured in inches. She's going from 1 3/4 inches out to 2 3/4 inches. Now notice how her dots are evenly spaced from each other. They're all about the same size. Over here, we can see that she actually measured 12 crayons, not just the 10 that she was talking about.
You can use this line plot to see that the crayon length that occurred most often was 2 3/4 inches. The crayon length that occurred least often was 2 2/4 inches.
So when we're talking about things that happen most and least often, the most often or most common one you're going to see is the one that's going to have the most number of dots or X's above it. The least common one, or the one that happens least often, has the fewest number of X's above it. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our notes and our guided practice. So our question here, again, we're going to focus on how to make and use line plots. So remember, a line plot helps us to show and organize our data using a number line. It has a title, a scale, it has the data points, and an evenly divided number line. When we're measuring to the nearest ½ inch, it means we're measuring by dividing each whole inch into 2 equal parts, and then measuring to the closest 1/2 inch mark. If we're going to measure to the nearest fourth inch, you're going to divide each whole inch into 4 equal parts, and then measure to the closest 1/4 inch mark. Now here you can see I broke up my number line. I have out until 3 inches. I broke them into 4 equal parts. My halfway marks are a little bit darker, a little bit longer. So 1/4, 2/4, which is the same as half, 3/4, and then 4/4, which is 1 whole, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4, which is 2 whole, 9/4, 10/4, 11/4, and then 12/4, which is 3 whole. Now for our first example, it says Monica and her friends measured the length of their shoes. Show the data by making a mark for each length on the line plot. So we labeled her friends, friend A, B, C, D, all the way up until J, and the length of each one of their shoes that they measured. Now taking a look at our data, it looks like the smallest number we have is 8, and the biggest number we have is about 9 1/4. So I started my line plot at 8 and I went out to 9 2/4. I put a title, the length of the shoes. I put the scale and units that I'm using as inches. My line plot, my number line is evenly spaced. And then I started putting in my data points. 8 goes right here, 8 2/4, the first one went right there, 9 1/4, then 8 2/4, and then another 9 1/4, and then another 9 1/4, and then 9, and then another 9 1/4, and then a second 9, and then another 8, or then an 8 1/4. So just by looking at the data, now that I have it organized into this line plot, the one that happened most often, or that was most common, was the 9 1/4, because it has the most number of X's above it. The one that happened least often, or the two that happened least often, were the 8 and the 8 1/4, because those each only had one X above them. Let's take a look at another example. It says Artie made a line plot to show the number of inches that different snails crawled in a 5-minute race. What was the most common distance? And then how many more snails crawled more than 8 3/4 inches than the length that's less than 8 3/4 inches? So let's take this question apart a little bit at a time. Now here we can look at our line plot. It has all of the parts of a line plot that we need. When we're looking at what was the most common distance, we're talking about the one with the most X's above it. So over here, my 9 1/4 has the most X's above it. So that's the most common distance. Now for the next part, it says how many more crawled more than 8 3/4 inches than the ones that crawled less than 8 3/4 inches. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look. If we want the ones that are more than 8 3/4 inches, that means we're looking at these guys. So these are the ones that are bigger than 8 3/4. And we want to compare them to the ones that are less than 8 3/4. So we're going to compare the number here to the number here, and then we're going to find the difference. Now, in the question, it didn't say 8 3/4 or less. It says which ones are less than that and which ones are more than that. So that's why we're not including this middle column. So I need to think, how many were less than 8 3/4? So I'm going to count the number of X's I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 of them were less than 8 3/4 inches in length in their race. How many were more than 8 3/4? Here I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So 19 of them went more than 8 3/4 inches. Now to solve, I need to find the difference between them, because my question asks how many more snails were over here than over here. So we need to subtract those numbers from each other. So 19 take away 6 is 13. 13 snails crawled more than 8 3/4 inches than the snails that crawled less than 8 3/4 inches. All right, let's take a look at our notes in our guided practice. It says measure the length of the line to the nearest 1/4 inch. Now you're going to use your ruler and you're going to see this is about 2 3/4 inches long. Number 2 says describe how you would show this measurement on a line plot. So I can make an X above the 2 3/4 point on a line plot to represent this particular measurement. For number 3, it says use a line plot to show the length of Sandy's pencils. So I made my line plot that goes from 5 to 6 2/4 inches. And we plotted it So there were two pencils that were 5 1/4 inch, one that was 5 2/4, one that was 5 3/4, and one that was 6. I made a line plot to show the length of my pencil. My pencil measured 5 3/4 inches, so I placed a mark right above the 5 3/4 inches to show my pencil. All right, that's it for this lesson on line plots. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.